My name is Peggie Ajusa. Most people have turned to call me coaches. I am the President Zone 5. Those are 8 countries of Africa. I've been the chair lady for quite a period in Kenya Netball Federation until 2013 when I thought I should step down and somebody else should take over. And when we had the elections, this girl from the Wanyama family, Mama Mariga, and Mama Victor was elected as the chair lady. I congratulate her so much. Since 2013, I have been in and out netball, not taking it very seriously. But when I stepped down for election for Kenya Netball Federation, I was of the idea that I become goodwill ambassador for Kenya Netball Federation. Because actually netball has a problem such that we don't get sponsors. We have children from school, those are under 18 years, so we cannot go to people like Kenya Breweries who are supposed to sponsor like they sponsor football, because we cannot have Kenya Breweries sponsoring Kenya Netball Federation, and yet we have children who are not supposed to take alcohol under 18 years. And if you look at it, the legality is that we are being sponsored by Kenya Breweries, and then we put on Kenya Breweries things, and it's like we are advertising something that we don't actually take. In any case, I'm a born-again Christian, so I don't really go for such things. But I thank God, those ones who have been sponsoring us, like we've had Safaricom sponsoring us. We've had small people who sponsor us, even individual people. We thank NOC, National Olympic Committee, very much of Kenya, because they have actually come for assistance when need is really required. They took our players to Botswana last year but one, and we really like that. What I would like to ask Kenyans, or to request, to kindly help games out. Because like football, we also have netball, we have other games like maybe runners, and also we have basketball, handball, and what have you. But when it comes to certain games, like I give example of netball where I am, you find that we are not getting sponsors at all. And even getting these sponsors from the government, sponsorship is not easy coming. It does not really come your way properly, the way you would think that it should come. If you look at it from the ages where we were employed because of netball, like I was employed in Postbank by the President, AK, that is Mr. Isaiah Kiplagat, in 1989. I retired in 2008 because then I had reached the retirement age. I was employed because of netball. But now, organizations, employers have stopped even employing players. So what do they want us to do with these young people who are coming out as players, runners, or disciplines in different areas? I would suggest that we have sport people who will come out to sponsor, like these people who have the games sports in South Africa, where they have their own money generating farms, something like that, so that at least we have people who can depend on sports. You can imagine people, I'll give an example of people like Joka Denge, who is in football, or who was in football then. The way he is where he is at the moment, I mean, it's not very pleasant. Because in those days, like if I mention, I finished my school at Ngara Girls in 1970. And the only thing we used to get at that time was a soda of Fanta and a half loaf. Now, even if we are being given money, that money is not enough to sustain us, make sure that we have a good families, maintain us, we have properties, and other countries are actually looking at their players or looking at their sports people as gold. So they are actually given something in return. Despite you going out there, playing, come back home with your gold, they still may be like Uganda, they give you a house. But in Kenya, I don't know what has happened. If something can be done so that even if a Kenyan would give in 1 shilling per day, if we open a Safaricom account, 1 shilling per day for netball people will be very happy. It will come up to the standard. Let them start what they have been doing, what they have stopped, employing players. Now they don't want to employ players. They don't want to sponsor players if there are any games going outside Nairobi or outside Kenya. Nobody wants to send a team. They say sponsoring sports is expensive. But who else, or how do we advertise our own farms, our own organization? How do we give them a mile? Say like when we normally have insurance games, interbank games, we have also things like Hat Run, where we normally get T-shirts, sell them at an income or something like that. It will be very, very good. And if we have the minister for sports, the minister should come out with strategies, do something for it, because if he has his own discipline where he gets his salary, what about the other players? Sometimes we don't have even attires. We go out without attires. We don't get even sponsorship for transport. We don't get sponsorship for even having to stay in hotels or accommodation and meals. So you find this is actually demoralizing. But Kenyans in East Africa, say like Zone 5, we have been part of or one of the best countries in netball, but now you can't count on netball at all. We have Uganda, we have South Africa, we have Tanzania, who actually beat us even before we start the game. Just morally, you are already finished before you even start the game. And those people who are already in the game, what they do is like, say, the General Secretary for Kenya Netball Federation puts in a lot of her time. The chair lady puts in a lot of her time. Other officials in netball puts in a lot of their time. And you find that time, you also put in money. And you find most of us are now retirees. So we don't have that money. So the government should come in, other organizations should come in, and I would request Safaricom to also help us, because they do not sponsor anything that is international. They only sponsor if it is local, that is in netball. So if they can also sponsor internationally, we'll be very, very obliged, and we will go far and will perform. At the moment, we have the men netball team, that is Kenya Prisons. They are actually number 1 in Africa, and they are number 2 in the world behind Australia. And then we have our netball team for ladies. We have Moit, that is Minister of Information. The ministry is actually helping us a lot to have this team grow. But when we have teams like St. John's from the ground, Ganek, who sponsor themselves, that Ganek is a male team who sponsor themselves, that means this month they are in, the other month they are out. That day they are in, and the other day they are not there. Even having to travel up Naivasha to come for competition becomes a problem. So that leaves only maybe a team or 2 teams to have to compete amongst themselves. And then that kills the morale. And nobody even wants or feels like having to turn up and do a lot in netball. Thank you.